Welcome to another exciting episode of Best of 3, your weekly FGC talk show presented by Esports. I'm a friend. This is Mike. We're a little hopped up on High C Ecto 1 coolers. They're pretty good. No? Didn't do anything
I thought it was pretty good. You know, it was green. It still tasted orange. But the confusion sometimes gets you, man.
We got a show to do. Tonight on the show, of course, we'll be joined as always by our panel. And then we're going to have an interview with none other than the newly signed by Naventic Peter Flash Susini. First question off the bat is going to be, what happened to the Metroid part of your name? But we'll get to it. First, we have our panel. Joining us from Event Hubs is John Velociraptor Guerrero in a swank new pad with nicer internet. And as always, Steve Ace King Offsuit Jurek, who also writes for Esports. Hey guys, how you doing?
What up?
I'm wonderful.
I bet you are in a new pad with nicer internet, I would hope. All right, guys. So
you cannot connect to the Capcom servers even faster.
Yeah. Less ba-bump. But guys, we have a lot of things to talk about. Of course, we're going to do, like we did last week, our Capcom Pro Tour recap in case you missed any of the action. Steve watched every single second of it and has a recap for you.
One.
Every second.
Every single one. I did not even blink. Two events on the docket this past weekend, and it starts with Tokyo Button Mashers. It was the first event in Japan of the season, so it was a look at a lot of players who are very strong but just don't travel to the West like names like Daigo and Tokido do. Daigo was there as well in his first event after being named global ambassador for the Twitch brand. He had a very strong performance, but in the end, no one could stop names like Daigo and Tokido. He was Daigo was there over as well. Everybody. He only lost one game in the entire top 16. So he is your victor. Second place, name maybe not as familiar to a lot of people, but Yukadan, formerly known as Issei Suto. Excuse me. He did very, very well this weekend. He knocked out Daigo, but he could not take it all the way to the top. Daigo finished third, Nemo fourth. Behind them, Goichi and MOV, tied for fifth.
I got the wrong. Sorry, I put the wrong graphic up. That's the one we're talking about. Go ahead. Nemo finished fourth.
Nemo finished fourth. Goichi and MOV tied for fifth, and then Haitani and VX rounded out the top 8.
Steve, I'm going to interrupt you for a second here. Is that a bird we hear?
That is a bird. Let me.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to know what that was because I didn't know if it was the Ecto Cooler Ghosts coming back or something, the Ghostbusters or something. Anyway. Sorry to interrupt. Back to where you were at.
It's all good. On the other side of the world, it was another Kami player ruling the day. K-Brad ended up taking the fight in Colombia. That was the 4th Latin American event of the year. Third one ended up getting won by an American. There were 3 actually foreign competitors who were in the field. Jiewa, K-Brad, and Will Tupac. They all finished in the top 4. So K-Brad ended up finishing first. Misterio from Chile, he was the strongest international strongest Latin American competitor there. Jiewa finished third, and Will Tupac from France taking 4th place. Picaro and Serpentaurus tied for 5th. Serpentaurus was the highest finishing Colombian player. And then Rockland Kyo and Zaito finished up tied for 7th there.
I'd just like to make notes that obviously we talked about how Mysterio has been one of the best King of Fighters players, period. And Serpentaurus was actually a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 player, famous for beating Xian when he came to a Colombian event with Thor. So with Thor, who he has consistently said time and time again as a counter to Morrigan.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I believe him, but he did prove it in some way.
It's probably too late to find that out now.
Probably way too late.
I want to say Mysterio won a tournament last week, didn't he? Or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, yes. He won Lima Salty, Peru.
Okay.
Or Lima Salty 3, in Peru.
So that is what happened, and those are the standings as they sit now. Who are the winners? Who are the losers? Steve, go.
Well, the biggest winner, I think, Kazunoko, the defending Capcom Cup champion. He really needed a good result this weekend to jumpstart his season. He only entered with 10 points, had some very strong performances in the first two premier events of the season, but in this format, you have to get those first and second place finishes to do well. So, and like I said, he was dominant. He beat Nuki 2-0. He beat Daigo 2-0. He beat Yukadan in the 2 sets by a combined score of 6-1. So he was absolutely on point all weekend.
Steve, as you pointed out in your article, Cammy's had a good weekend. We can talk about that in a second, but why don't we get your next winner?
Well, how about the other Cammy, K-Brad? If you remember back to last year, he was a player who was traveling internationally a ton. He was going to Italy, he was going to the Middle East, trying to get those points, and it didn't pay off for him. This year, he's doing traveling, and it is paying off. He got second back at Capcom in Brazil, and he has his win now. So he has a path forward. Perhaps maybe he focuses on the Latin American events here on out. Because remember, he went to Never Give Up in Chile last year, and now this year it's on the Pro Tour.
This whole notion of going to easier events, right? Shan is really the one that floated that idea to us here on the show not too many weeks ago.
And Chiwa's definitely been doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him all over Texas for a while. He's been all over the place. He was in Seattle, and now he's in Colombia. Is that the way to do? That's that World Warrior stuff right there. I feel I'm blanking on his name. This Marvel player, the best one in the world right now. KBR. You know, he kind of coined that whole World Warrior. I'm going to travel all over the place and get these points. Now you have that mission of the Capcom Pro Tour.
I feel like his goal was to travel to the best places, though, and now the goal is to travel to the worst, right?
Oh, man. Interesting.
Can't blame him, though. I mean, the Capcom Cup has all that money in it, right? And
sure.
it's a chance to play with the best people in the world and get that stage. Yet again, we've mentioned this before, but getting to the Capcom Cup seems to be your ticket, right? Guys who made it there through smaller tournaments last year from Latin America made a name at Capcom Cup, and now they're getting sponsored. So seems like the right path to take.
K-Brad doesn't look like he's looking for a sponsor, obviously, but the idea that I might not win, but since I'm going to be at all these tournaments anyway, a sponsor might want to
pick me up. You get like Kaoma, you get invited to Red Bull, you get invited to this, that. It's definitely the best thing you can do for your fighting in career is make it to Capcom Cup, regardless of if you win or lose.
Speaking of win and lose, we still have one more winner, Steve. Who do you got?
I got to go with Mysterio. His second place finish was huge for a couple reasons. One, in Brazil, or like I was saying a couple weeks ago, Latin America the events are spread all over except for Brazil. They have 3 or 4 there. So the Brazilian players are at a huge advantage trying to get those last leaderboard spots to qualify for Capcom Cup. With a win 2 weeks ago and a second place here, he is now tied for the lead. So he has the inside track on grabbing one of those 2 spots.
Let's first I want to remind you we're not done with the Capcom recap, but throughout this entire show we're going to have our lines open again. We haven't done that in a while. You can call in. We just want you to ask questions to our guest, which of course you are allowed to do so. We would also like to hear your opinion. Later we're going to be talking about Noel Brown bands and all kinds of other things, and we'd like to hear what you guys have to think. All right, let's move on to losers, Steve.
This is going to sound tough, but Haitani is one of the guys that I don't think did quite as well as he needed to this weekend. He tied for 7th, which was, against that field, a very strong performance, but this was an opportunity for him to extend his lead on the Asian leaderboard. He came in leading by 4 points. Now he only leads by 8. So this was a missed opportunity that if he doesn't make it through the regional leaderboard, this is going to be a day that he looks back on and maybe regrets a little bit.
Next loser.
Got to go with Will Tupac. He is, again, it's not because he did poorly. It's because the format of the Pro Tour expects so much. He finished 4th here, which was his best of the season, but he still only got 16 points. He traveled all across the world for a handful of points. You have to get those first and second place finishes to make it at the end. So he is now the first person, I should say, to earn points in 3 different regions, but he's still only at 26.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, you hear that and you wonder if that's what they were going for or if they should maybe change that. I mean,
what in particular?
if you go to a tournament and, as Steve said, you don't get first or second or even, I guess, third,
it's not worth it.
You're not really helping yourself that much at all. Because there's more different people win tournaments. One first is worth, I don't know how many thirds, but a lot.
Somebody did the math at one point and thought you can't have third place get this many points because it wouldn't work. I'm sure somebody did the math at some point. Might even have been Steve.
Hans did the math, I can tell you that much.
I'm not sure how you would fix that. Maybe it needs tweaking, but it is...
I think you might see people start traveling a little less at that point, just because you have to realize, like, unless you're really just looking to get better. But if your goal is to make it to the Capcom Cup, you got to pick and choose your battles, I guess, because it's not working out for everyone so far.
Final loser, Steve, so we can move on.
I got to go with an entire continent, Latin America.
Have they lost every week?
Yeah.
They won one of the events, which was Lima with Mysterio, but that event only had people from Chile and Peru. Every time an international player has shown up, they have taken the bulk of the points. You know, they took first and second at Capcom, they took first and second at Japanawa, and now they've taken first, third, and fourth here. So all of these chances to move up the regional leaderboard, you look at who's qualified, 3 out of the 4 players are Americans. You look at the leaderboard, 4 of the top 6 in the standings are Americans. So when it comes to the end of the year, it might be an almost all-American event in that regional final.
Excellent. I'm interested to see, we were talking about Will Tupac a second ago. I don't want to talk about Latin America, okay? And you keep putting them on your losers list, okay? But Will Tupac, we saw him at DreamHack.
I'm sorry.
We saw Will Tupac at DreamHack, and again, the thing that first stands out to me, not only is there a European player coming over here to play with us, Laura. Is Laura worth the effort? I feel like a lot of people put in a lot of work. She's got a lot of cool stuff, but there's no time to pull any of that off.
You know, I mean, she's doing better than a few other characters. Her results are certainly better than Zangief, and her results are certainly better than Rashid. But she would be in the lower tier as far as results go. I mean, the first event, of course, was won by Laura, the first CPT event.
That's
period.
right, Mr. Crimson.
But since then, she's had a tougher time dominating. At Combo Breaker, we had Laura in top 8, and we had Laura right outside top 8 with Seth Lowell and Wolf Crown. So I think it's there, and I think she has a little more to implement than other characters, but I also think that most Laura players know that it's not the easiest path, you know, and that she's a little more crazy of a character.
We'll see. I mean, it might be one of those things where you stick with the character at the end of the season, they balance her, and she's the best thing, and you'll be happy that you were playing with her all along.
Possibly.
That is a pretty big assumption, guys. Let's move on to some topics. Steve, thank you so much for that Capcom Pro Tour recap. Next thing on the docket is the Capcom Pro Tour new rules that were implemented. We got a batch of rules, then they were somewhat amended. John, why are you shaking your head, bud?
Okay, so we gotta preface this whole thing with the Team YP getting banned and everything, and we've talked about that at length. Okay, we don't want porn mixed in with our events. I get that. It's a cultural thing, right? Like, that's a taboo. Fine. But now Capcom has gone and they've said we don't want e-cigarettes, we don't want alcohol, and those are the 2 big ones that jump out at me, because like if I'm thinking about all of our sports entertainment, which is what we're trying to get into, as the movement towards esports. We want to be like the NBA, we want to be like the NFL and such. And at least here in American culture, we run off of Bud Light as far as advertisements and things like that, right? So at the end of the day, I see what they're doing. They're trying to make it super family friendly, but honestly, with the way Street Fighter V is, there's sexuality in it. It's not for little tiny kids, and we're surrounded by these products every day in a very real way, in a very public way. So to ban them is a huge restriction, especially because they offer us so much. When I say us, I mean the community, and they offer the Pro Tour and these players sponsorship opportunities. Bud Light is doing their Bud Light, the Hall of Fame All-Stars, yes. And it's like, what an opportunity, and it's such a huge name. I don't think it's a huge threat to Capcom, and yet they've kind of grouped them all together it seems like this whole YP thing kind of snowballed, and now we're getting rid of a lot of potential, and I'm kind of afraid for that.
I mean, clearly the reason they're doing it is because people complained about, drinking and this being worse, and I guess they thought the answer to that was to ban that too, just to shun the naysayers. And
are they banning the consumption of alcohol or the sponsorship by an alcohol company? One makes more sense to me than the other. Yes, Bud Light's trying to get in, and that's great. The one that stands out more to me is the vaping one, because you have players and good players like Sanford Kelly who are sponsored by the Vape Co, if I'm not mistaken. He's already been saying the Steam Co, whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. I don't vape, guys. All right. But the point being that being that Sanford, I believe, has already made some Facebook posts saying just that. I won't be going to Evo because it doesn't make sense for my sponsor to send me if they can't be there. So they've said that they can, and so on and so forth. So we get it. No vaping, no porn, no alcohol, no this. I have to imagine, I'm not basing this on anything that anybody has told me from Capcom or anything like that. I have to imagine that they're doing that, cleaning shop, so to speak, because there are other sponsors who would say, I would just sponsor your players if it wasn't these, adult
I don't
type
believe that
things.
for a second, to be honest.
Why not?
No.
As I just don't believe that anyone said that.
Then
These things are so ubiquitous.
But then, why would you do that is the question.
Because they're trying to, because people came out and said, if you're going to, ban porn, you have to ban all this other stuff, and they just did it. It was a Twitch reaction, in my opinion.
That's what I want to know. Yeah, is it a knee-jerk reaction to everything else and to the public yelling about YP, or was this a thought-out process where they sat in a room for an hour and really talked about it and weighed the pros and cons of it? I mean, I would. They don't have to tell us, but I would like to know that.
Well, go ahead, Steve.
Here's what bothers me about this entire situation, and it bothered me when the initial ban came out 2 weeks ago. Why wasn't this dealt with in January or February? The big issue I have is that now you're screwing players over in the middle of the season. Like with the YP thing, that came out the day before Stunfest, where you had players at a tournament going to sleep thinking they can play, waking up thinking, well, maybe I can't play. That's unacceptable. Now you have players who have been sponsored for the entire season, all of a sudden finding out, no, you can't go. Your sponsor's not going to be receiving any coverage. Why wasn't this done at the beginning of the season so that all this entire conversation could take place, everything gets settled, and we're done with it?
No, I mean, that's pretty much unarguable that it should have been done earlier. At this point,
Yeah.
If you didn't have, the hotels have been sold out for God knows how long, and I think the registration's unlimited, but at some point you got to realize, people have already bought their tickets.
Guys, those are the new rules. That's not the only ruling that was handed down by Capcom since last we had a show. We're going to move on to another topic, and we actually have callers coming in to discuss this, but first, this is just somebody who's waiting who wants to set up what happened with Noel Brown at Combo Breaker. Of course, we had the Hotto on the show last week, and he kind of said, if it turns out that what is being said actually happened, we're going to ban him, and then it snowballed from there. Steve, you wrote about it. You want to just give us the TLDR?
Well, the day after Rick was on our show, they completed their investigation. They found that the incident that was recorded did meet the level of harassment, and they announced a ban of Noel Brown from Combo Breaker 2017, and the potential of that ban to extend into the 2018 event. They would revisit it. The next day, Capcom steps up and says that Brown is going to be banned from all Pro Tour events, all Pro Tour tournaments, I should say, for the remainder of the year. So he can still go to individual events, but he cannot participate in Pro Tour tournaments. Right after that, Evo came out within an hour of that and said that Brown was banned from that event. And before the night ended, Ultra Arcade, who was a sponsor, banned him from the KI World Cup and also terminated their sponsorship of him.
Brandon Alexander, the guy that runs Ultra Arcade, one of the guys that runs Ultra Arcade, is a friend of ours, and he's been on the show a couple times. That guy is no joke. And I asked him about Noel Brown when he first signed him, and he was like, this guy has a bit of a reputation, right? And he says, I don't care. This is Ultra Arcade, and we're going to turn people around, and we're going to be positive role models, and this, that, and the other. If that didn't happen, then I'm not surprised that Brandon was like, you out of here. You were a little bit, you thought it was harsh, Mike.
I am a personal friend of Noel Brown, and he himself has said he's letting all the decisions stand. He's not arguing against it. He said his own piece, and so that's not really what I'm going to talk about.
Go ahead.
And I think Rick's decision makes a lot of sense. It was his event.
Yeah.
He did the research, and he came to a conclusion. I don't think anyone can argue with that. I think it's totally fair, and I think that what he did was not wrong at all. I think Ultra Arcade's decision also makes a lot of sense. They're sponsoring him. They're obviously putting their own name on the line in front of this guy, and if he represented them in a way they don't like, they should definitely
Not to mention that if he was representing them to play Street Fighter V and he can no longer play Street Fighter V.
No, it makes total sense. The Capcom ban, yet again, it's totally their decision whether or not they want this guy at his tournaments. But at the same time, I feel like it came quickly after the other events as a knee-jerk yet again, and I don't feel like there's any real possible way they had all the information unless Rick just sent them a TXT, right? Mm-hmm. And for that reason, I just think banning someone from a whole year worth of events I know he has another job, but who a major part of their life is this, in a situation where not all the details are really out on the table, was probably a bit quick. At the same time, it's their tournament, it's their decision.
Before we get, I know, Steve, you have some issues with this whole thing. Before we get to that, do you guys want to hear a call from our audience here that has something to say about the Noel Brown thing? Well, too bad, because we're going to do it. Sahil James is on the air. Sahil, you have the floor. What is your comment or question?
Thanks, Efren. So I was just wondering, so Noel Brown obviously has a lot of friends that are very prominent in the FGC, notably Team EG. So I was wondering, what kind of responsibility do they have of not I don't want to say containing his behavior, but kind of speaking out and letting other people know that this kind of behavior at the events is not okay? Or is that something that's totally out of their hands and not really their problem?
I think everybody might have an opinion on it. Should I get it started here? So if I'm understanding correctly, you're wondering why aren't Noel Brown's close friends? You always see him in that close-knit. A lot of people of the higher echelon of at least NAFGC speaks very highly of him and his coaching abilities and all that. Why haven't they said more? I believe that's what you're asking, right, Sahil?
Yeah, sure.
Is it possible that there's more to the story, right? They're not speaking out because...
You don't speak out on that.
Yeah. Do you guys have an opinion on that? Should they be or should they not be? Chat, what do you think?
I think it'd be stupid for them to do it, so that's my answer.
Yeah, let's get on Capcom's list kind of thing. Probably not a good idea.
I don't think it's even that. I think at the end of the day, we're all adults. We're not. We're all on the set around 30 years old. I'm over 30. I know I should know how to act. Most of the people in there should know how to act. They shouldn't need somebody to come out and tell you, hey, this is wrong. Don't touch another person's butt who doesn't want you to touch them. It goes without saying in my head. And I don't think they need to make any sort of public statement. I don't think they need to tweet something out. They can just say, hey, Noel, stop. Just stop fucking up and keep it in-house, and that'd be the end of it from their perspective.
Okay. Sahil, thank you very much for your call. That's an interesting part of this whole thing, because at the end of the day, it's the FGC, not Noel Brown, right? I mean, this is a community, right? All right. Steve, if I'm not mistaken, you're working on an article that delineates some of the issues you have with how this whole thing went down. And if you could, hit it into some pinpoints. One of them is, there's no arbitration. Is that one of the things that you're concerned about?
Yeah. I think what bothers me about this entire process is that there was a decision from Capcom, and that was it. This was Capcom making a decision to protect their own interests, which they have a right to do. But there is no sense of what if Capcom gets it wrong. They just seemed they didn't have any guidelines in place. They didn't even have the rules up online at the time this happened. They've only been up for like 10 days the entire season. It just feels like they got together, they pulled a number out of thin air, and that was the decision. And thankfully for them, this is a relatively open and shut case. And thankfully for them, the number they pulled out of thin air was, in my opinion, the right number. But what worries me is if something else happens that isn't quite so open and shut, And
that's what I was saying as well. I mean, yeah, but go ahead.
I mean, but what would happen? The thing is, like, hey, people are watching this. We want people to watch Street Fighter. The players, the tournaments are a huge part of selling this game and keeping it in conversation. Hell, we talk about it every week because there are tournaments happening. If you have a guy that doesn't make the scene look good and you have the power to get rid of him, I understand why they did it. If anybody else does anything similar, why wouldn't they expect the exact same punishment? Why would it be any different whether it's a rash decision or not?
Well, keep in mind, what if it isn't someone who's like Noel Brown who did something like this? What if it was someone more beloved? Would there be more outrage about, oh man, this is a harsh decision. Oh man, they didn't really, how can he appeal this? Why can't he appeal this? All of that would be so loud right now. That would be dominating the conversation, I feel. Right now, because it's Noel Brown who did this, because it's a guy who's filmed punching a guy in a cast, he doesn't get that benefit of the doubt. He doesn't get people speaking out on him, in his favor, I should say. And I don't, like I said, I don't think the punishment is wrong. I just worry about how Capcom got to that punishment.
Yeah, it's completely valid what you're saying there, and we've talked at length also about how it seems like Capcom wasn't quite ready with the release of Street Fighter V. And I think when we look at the Pro Tour now and what's been happening here, they weren't quite ready with some aspects of the Pro Tour, and we see that evidenced here. I chalk this all up to is Capcom's moving into this kind of new venture with the transition into esports, and they're trying to put on these big things like the Pro Tour and do these bigger and more elaborate events. But that comes with, this new territory comes with new responsibilities that we are seeing spring up right now. And that, I mean, we need a rule book. We need a cut and dry set of, like, you do this and you're out, you do this and you're okay, kind of thing. We need these numbers. We need things to be black and white because we've moved up into this level where we're exchanging a lot of money with prizes. We're getting a lot of attention with all the viewers and such. And so the FGC has graduated, and we need to start taking ourselves more seriously, Capcom included. Now, this is like the first year where we're really seeing these things spring up. So I go, okay, fine. We're experiencing this. We weren't prepared to begin with. But next year, if Capcom isn't ready to deal with all of these things, if they don't go and they do a whole reformation of their approach, then I have some pretty big issues. Right now, I go, it sucks, but we're going to get through this.
Growing
but if
pains.
they don't change things, if they don't change things for next year, having seen what happened this year and make the tweaks that need to be made and make the adjustments, then I think we're going to be in some some hot water.
All right, guys, we're moving on because we do have a guest to get to, but we have a couple more topics. So one of those is, of course, the EVO Sunday order. This is your grand finals day at EVO. The lineup has been revealed, and it has some people talking. Not surprisingly, being the most important next to Capcom Cup, Capcom Pro Tour event, Street Fighter V is the headliner. That's a no-brainer, of course. Also on this day, I
want to say something about that, which is that
Let's
Mako said Melee should be last, and I was thinking that would be a nightmare. I think if SF5 wasn't last,
what would be so bad about that? I mean, there are more people in Melee for sure. They broke records.
Are there more people in Melee
Is there more
tournament?
people in Melee than in Street Fighter V? Does anybody know that?
In the screams, I think there are.
Yeah, Melee has about 2,000, I believe, or less than 2,000.
Street Fighter has like close to 5,000, right?
And
Close
Smash
to
4
5.
has more in Melee.
Yeah, so I retract that previous statement. There are certainly more people playing Street Fighter V. So Melee is right before Street Fighter V in Sunday's
That's fine.
lineup. You're okay with that?
I'm okay with it being before.
Why?
What as I don't know. Just to me, and this is a stupid statement, but to me, it just has to end with a fighting game.
Fair enough.
Like a,
you hear that?
Here
That
we
wasn't
go.
even sly. He just threw it right in,
Here we
guys.
go.
Okay, so this is the order. Mortal Kombat XL. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you got to have that at EVO. You got the new Guilty Gear, then Melee, then Street Fighter 5. What I was surprised by is that the other game that has more entrants than some of these on that list is Smash for Wii U. And I got to imagine that's on Saturday?
I think so. I think that's the problem people have with the lineup. I think pretty much everything else makes sense to most people.
What specifically, Danke, is the problem?
They got a lot of entrants. It's
Yeah.
a new game.
Yeah.
It's a game that obviously at least a decent amount of people have interest in. The argument is that stream viewership and hypeness has always mattered more, and Wizard has been very upfront about that. And I want to commend the EVO staff for being more open with the people than ever this year. I personally wish Smash 4 was on Finals Day.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching it. I can understand why it's slow, and I can understand the argument that it gets less viewers, but it does seem like a bit of a slap to the face to get that many people to come there and then shove it on a... Well, and not only shove it on a different day, but now it's literally not in the Mandalay Bay Arena. They don't have the same opportunity that these guys have, even though they're competing in a tournament that's going to be bigger.
Yeah, I mean, but it would have been very odd to see Smash 4 in that arena and not Melee. I think Melee deserves it.
Of
They've
course,
had a lot of history.
Like, I mean, if they get that many views, then they get that many views.
Guys, I'm a real jerk. We had a call a long time ago, and I never took it. Let's take this call from Sith. Sith, we may or may not have already passed your topic that you wanted to talk about, but what did you have to say? Do you have anything to add for the stuff that we've been talking about today?
Well, the thing is, it's hilarious. I'm actually I'm an organized what's the word I'm looking for? I do organized play for Pathfinder, and I've been up in the D&D scene for a long time, and it's hilarious because where the fighting game community is, like we've kind of slid over some of these similar issues with kind of the role-playing community, and I want to say that because anybody who's heard of D&D, pretty much they know 5th edition and they know 3.5, and that's it. And the reason why is when 4th edition came out, they tried to reform the community because they wanted to branch out. They wanted to capture more people. And the deal is they're like, we're not going to be this like blood and, tits type deal. We're going to do cleaner scenarios, cleaner everything. And they launched D&D 4 and almost single-handedly killed Dungeons & Dragons. And the reason why is instead of focusing on the people that they had, they focused on everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
And you're seeing the same thing happening here with Street Fighter 5 and trying to reform?
And with the Scar thing in MKX.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Right. They're focusing on, like, everybody else instead of retaining who they have. Do you understand?
Sure.
Oh, I'm totally on your side, man.
So what do you think should happen if you've learned the mistakes of the past, right? We're doomed to repeat them if we don't learn from them. What should, in your opinion, be done, Sith?
Well, the deal is I think Street Fighter V will be a good game with time, and that's really any game. And the reason why is, it's been out for a few months, and everybody's like, the meta sucks. Everybody's jump, throw, whatever, shimmy, which I never understood why people just spam the hell out of the word shimmy. But, and I think the good game will come with time. But I think Capcom needs to stop focusing on, hey, let's go get these people who have not played Street Fighter. Let's go get these people who have played, like one game of Street Fighter on arcade back in the day, and then like Street Fighter comes every now and then type deal. It's like, let's focus on the game, let's get the game taken care of, and let's maybe, because the game's not even complete. You understand? They're trying to pull people into a game that's not even done.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. It's interesting to see how it's happened before, right? Like, this is not new. Certainly not to Street Fighter V, and probably not to Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons either. Sid, thank you so much for offering that insight, man. We appreciate the call.
Yep.
All right, guys.
You have a good one, man.
And I'll respond to that real quick, and I'll let everyone else talk, and I've been hogging the mic. But I think what he's saying is totally real and totally obvious at this point in the FGC. What gets the most views? What do people care about? It's EVO, a tournament that just streams the game and focuses very little on anything else. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like enough said, kind of. We shouldn't be focusing on anything but what the players want. And then when the players are hype and the players are making money and the players are doing well, people tend to come for the spectacle.
Guys, there was a bit of a spectacle today with the Panda Global signing of Scar, a guy we've talked about on the show before, one of the best Mortal Kombat players on the planet. came in second place last year, or at the last ESL season, second to Sonic Fox. Who wants to take it from there? John, I'm gonna let you do it.
Yeah. So, congratulations first off to Scar and to Panda Global. They're bringing on this new guy. He's shown us that he's amazing, and I'm sure he'll take things to new heights. And the whole relationship between the two of them will be awesome. But there was a clause in their contract with Scar, going right along with today's theme of kind of censorship and watching what we do here, saying that he's not allowed to perform any fatalities. Not only that, but he's also, if he loses and his opponent starts to do a fatality, he's got to like pause the game or just navigate away from the screen really quick, trying to keep things PG, if you will.
There it is. You're waiting.
So this kind of exploded as soon as it was announced. I actually wrote up an article. Oh, and I'd like to take this second to say I wrote in there that Scar was the fourth player, the fourth fighting game player that joined PG. He's not the fourth. I read it in the article by ESPN that I misread it. It's that he's the fourth acquired since the summer, but it's like I think it's the 11th pickup overall. But anyways, the idea here is people are freaking out because it's Mortal Kombat. The big deal here, or the thing that everyone remembers about Mortal Kombat, is the fatality aspect, is the gore. And then you go, but they have X-rays in the middle of the game. You have brutalities that are just as gory. Both of those things are just as gory as fatalities, and you're not going to be able to avoid that. What are you doing, PG? And then quickly thereafter, PG followed up with a tweet that said, "You know what? We're not gonna ban Scar from doing fatalities. Also, we don't want all this attention to be on this little clause in his contract. We want this attention to be on Scar himself. Celebrate with him, congratulate him. We're going to have a fun time going forward and playing some Mortal Kombat."
I mean, it's not like they said you can't use punches. They said you can't do fatalities, right? So, I mean, it wasn't like going to be game-breaking or anything, but it was just so silly, especially with a game like Mortal Kombat. And the thing is, you don't even really see fatalities all that often anyway because it's considered BM and people want to go into their next match anyway. Steve, what do you got? You look like you're about to say something.
Here, wow. I want to know whose great idea this was to put that in the contract.
But no fatalities.
No, it's like trying to take someone to a brothel and saying you can't have sex. Violence is Mortal Kombat. The gameplay is great, but it's the signature of the game is this violence, this gore, this brutality. It's just part of the game, and to try and come in and embrace the game without embracing something that is really entrenched with the game in that manner just feels like a dumb idea.
I feel like it's just a little bit evident that maybe the people that make, like the higher ups of Panda Global, maybe they're just not as in tune with the Mortal Kombat scene as those that are actually out, scouting and getting players and such. And the idea here was that they were like, oh, that sounds bad. Let's avoid that. But here's some money to do this, and there was just a little bit lost in the translation between the two. But as soon as it kind of blew up and stuff, I mean, it's not such a big deal that they're obviously going to keep the ban. They got rid of it as soon as people started talking about it and saying, what the hell? So now,
did Scar tell ESPN? Was the contract released somehow?
No, the ESPN reporter talked to somebody at Panda Global.
Why would they even include that? Like, if you're going to tell a guy not to do fatalities and you don't want that connected to your brand, just tell him, or write in the contract, but don't have anyone say it.
I think they legitimately thought that was the way they wanted to handle it until they realized. And shout outs to Ultra David, who tweeted at them, was like, "Hey guys, I see what you're doing, but it's probably not a good idea." And I'm going to give credit to Ultra David being the one that actually got them to change it. I'm not sure if that's true, but I saw them respond to his tweet saying, "You're right, we're going to change it."
It just doesn't seem like something that needed to publicly be said.
Yeah, but
if you really don't want him to do it, just have him not do it.
Wait, it was you who said that was part of the publicity of it, right? Like
probably, yeah. Like that's the reason to get a Mortal Kombat signing to matter, is to say fatality should be banned, right?
Well, hey, we're talking about it here, and everybody knows who Scar is now. I mean, there you go. So
I'd like to shout out that Scar is my boy, and he's a Texan.
Yeah.
And he's godlike.
Yeah, and he'll be competing at ESL this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and he could be $75,000 richer if he ends up taking it. And unlike previous years, it seems like there's a good chance that Sonic Fox won't be the guy who takes it home at the end of the day.
Doesn't he play Sonic first round?
No, they're on opposite sides of the bracket.
I think they're the 1-2 seed. Yeah, so
that would make sense because that was
among Americans, yeah, they do a mixed seeding where it's like number 1 in the U.S. versus number 8 in Europe, and then they flip it around. But you look at who's there. Scar's the number 1 seed there. You've got Dragon, who has had Sonic Fox's number throughout the the MKX Cup season, and you've got Foxy Grandpa, who just won Combo Breaker, a tournament that had almost every American qualifier for that event. So it is wide open. It is much more wide open than it's ever been before, in my opinion.
Guys, that brings us to the end of a somewhat extended panel. We do have a guest to get to. I want to thank you, as always, for bringing the insight, the opinions, the news, the knowledge. John, thank you. Steve, thank you. Fist bumps, sure, why not? Yeah, let's do it. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks again.
Keep it here. Don't go up. Don't
Okay.
go up. That ends up badly.
Oh, yeah, like our guest last time. All right, guys. Thank you again. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Coming up, we have Flash, not Metroid, just Flash now. Rotendo, you know Rotendo?
yes, I do.
He's one of these guys who's been in the FGC for a while, and he's one of
Yes,
these
he has.
behind-the-scenes kind of dudes, big in the killer instinct scene. He is now helping manage that fighting game team for Naventic, and shout-outs to him because he helped me land this interview. But he's the one that said it's not Flash Metroid anymore. It's just Flash. And again, I promised the stream that I would ask him where the Metroid part of his name went, and that will be the first question as soon as we get him on. He's been doing pretty good. So, I mean...
He's been doing really good.
Yeah.
And he's been doing good since the beginning. I don't think people realize that. I think he got 9th at final round.
Is that
He's
right?
been dominant online forever. He's done really well at tournaments, and he was a EVO top 8 placer in Street Fighter 4. This guy, and he was one of the best Guilty Gear players in America. Like, he's definitely not coming out of nowhere.
And I believe he's with us now. Flash, can you hear us? Uh-oh, I think he's muted. There he is. Flash, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. What's up?
Hey, thanks, man. Thank you for joining us on the show tonight, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we're about to have you full screen here in a second. There he is. Flash, first question right out of the gate. Why no longer Flash Metroid?
I never really had a reason to have the name.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My name is pretty like old. Like I made it when I was 9, 10 years old, and it was kind of random the way I came up with it. So I decided to get rid of it finally.
Yeah, it was about that time, and Flash was pretty cool. Peter, I'm glad you said that you were playing games when you were that young because, you know, something that we don't typically ask our guests all that often is where did you start your career in fighting games? How and when did you start playing fighting games?
I was originally a DDR player.
DDR, Dance Dance Revolution?
Yeah.
Is there a competitive scene for that?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. So I used to play DDR like competitively, and when I would be too tired to play, I would like dabble in other games, and eventually I fell in love with Marvel 2, and I was like, oh my god, this game is too good. And then eventually I transferred over to the FGC.
Was that with Guilty Gear mostly, or?
No, Marvel 2,
Marvel 2 and then...
and Alpha 3 were my original games, and then when XX came out, I transferred over to anime.
Now, Flash, you're known for Street Fighter 4. I mean, we saw you play a lot last year, and you know, since '09, that's where I first started seeing you play. I've seen you on Excellent Adventures. A lot of people refer to you as one of the best coaches out there. Obviously, a player if you can get second place at a Capcom Pro Tour event. How do you see yourself? A player, a coach, a Marvel player, a DDR player?
I guess I just like to be a player. I actually don't think I'm a very good coach, like, during the game. I don't think I'm a good coach to have by your side, but I think I'm more of a teacher. Like, I taught K-Brad how to play for the most part, and I'm pretty proud of where he's gotten.
You know, he brought that up when he was on the show a couple of weeks ago for DreamHack, and if I'm not mistaken, he had a role in you getting signed by Naventic. Can you tell us about that?
He was just tweeting about it. Like, for the past 2 months, he's been tweeting all the time about, oh, Flash is the best, Flash is this, Flash is that. And I guess when Combo Breaker happened, people started to believe it. So,
I mean, they start to believe it, but you got to back it up with the results, and you did get that second place. Speaking of Combo Breaker, there's one clip. This is not from your match with Justin. This is with NuckleDoo. You faced NuckleDoo and you kind of baited him out. And we have video of this, and here this is you baiting him to pick Armika, if I'm not mistaken. You're about to do it right now here in a second. Because he's taking his time picking his character, and you're like, yeah, just do it, pick Armika. And then later, you bait him to pick Guile, and I think it's going to show here in the video. What is your philosophy when you're there sitting next to somebody, and you're kind of trying to get in their head? I mean, what's your game plan when you're up there?
it wasn't really it wasn't like a strategic move. I feel like Vega beats Nash pretty convincingly, so I was surprised that he picked it to begin with. And he had beat me 3-4 times in a row. He swept me like 3-0, actually 4 times now with Mika. So I knew it was coming. So I was just like, let's just get it over with. Just pick it already so you can beat me.
and he got one match on you, but then you came back, and then he switched to Guile. That one looked like it was a strategic bait because you proceeded to body his Guile. There was no mind game going on there.
No, there's no mind game. I actually don't know the matchup at all, except for the fact that I can slide under V skill, and I just hope that it wasn't that good, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't invest that much time into it. So yeah.
I mean, that Guile matchup doesn't seem like it's solidifying really for anybody other than Chris G. I don't know what he's doing that other people aren't, but
Hey, he's still new.
yeah, he's new.
Yeah.
You play some Guile, I think, right?
Yeah, I do, but not very well.
I'm sorry, I apologize to anybody watching the show if you hear any loud banging. There's some construction happening right outside our window, which I would prefer it would not be happening. But let's talk about Naventic here real quick, Peter. I had not heard about Naventic until you got picked up by them. What kind of organization are they? I mean, we're getting esports, right?
They're fairly new. I know they until I joined, they only had a Heart of the Storm team, which are doing pretty well. They won DreamHack a few months ago, and they're going to DreamHack next week. So yeah, I think they've only been around since February, so they're fairly new. And I guess they're starting to pick up fighting game players.
It's like it's a good season right now for fighting game players. If you're doing well, I mean, you just got to play your cards right. Although I did see K-Brad tweet to LTG of all people saying it's not who you are, it's who you know kind of thing. Granted, you did have that good result. Is it if you're good, you're going to get picked up these days, or do you have to actually be able to be connected, in your opinion, Peter?
I guess it's a mixture of both. There's a lot of players who do really well, like Chris T. I mean, I understand what low tier guy was saying. He should have been sponsored already. I don't really understand why he wasn't. But like, that has nothing to do with me.
Fair enough. I want to remind our audience that if you have a question for Peter, we are taking call-ins, and you can ask him your question live. We do have screeners, so don't try to be too sneaky or anything like that.
And in regards to that, I mean, obviously, and you're the first one to confront them, you have a fair amount of haters for various reasons. How do you respond to that upon getting sponsored? I mean, do you embrace it? Do you go with it? Do you F-champ it? Do you ignore it? How are you going to handle all that now that you're more in the public eye than ever?
Just ignore it. People are going to hate no matter what. They've been hating before anything happened. They're going to hate after. It doesn't matter what I do. They're going to hate me anyway. So it is what it is.
But, are you one of these guys like F-Champ who, like, feeds off of that? It's like spinach to him, right? Like, he gets, like, Popeye on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I like watching, like, everybody talk shit about me. Am I allowed to curse? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're allowed to say whatever you want.
I enjoy reading, like, all those comments, and people swear up and down that they know everything about everything. So it's kind of cool, I guess. I hope I can win some in the future, so I can like give a shout out to all of them for helping me get there.
You're feeding off their tears.
Yeah.
Is that one of those kind of things?
Yeah, basically. I'm gonna get a jar like F-Champ does.
Well, I mean, you are signed now, and you said you do want to continue to compete, obviously, in the Capcom Pro Tour. Where are we going to see you next? What are you looking? What's your schedule look like?
My schedule, I'm gonna go to CEO. I'm going to TGS, which is gonna be really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's real cool. The Tokyo
Yeah.
Game Show.
Yeah, I'm going to TGS, Canada Cup. I'm going pretty much everywhere in the U.S. And I'm planning on going to Dominican Republic, Canada Cup, TGS, and one more, EGX. I forgot the name of it. The one in England.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there as well.
That sounds awesome. Now, since you're talking about it, let me get your opinion on this somewhat of a hot topic of people going to easier, quote-unquote, easier tournaments, right? Like, I'm going to go to all the Latin American tournaments because apparently, according to Steve, one of our writers, that's where all the losers are at. And I'm going to take those points. How do you feel about that practice?
It's smart.
Yeah.
South America isn't very strong at the game yet, obviously through the results. So if that's where you can get your points, I can't hate on you for doing that.
That's fair. That's fair. I have another question for you on these hot topics, and that is Noel Brown being banned. Your opinion on that, man?
I believe that he should be banned based on the video and all the drama behind it. But I also think that the stuff that he released, the conversations between him and the girl after the event, should have got her banned from it as well. So I don't feel like there was equal justice, but
but that doesn't fly in the public eye, and the public eye is relevant here to this discussion because you want people to keep following your stuff. If you punish who appears to be the victim, that does not go over well.
Yeah, I don't know. If you see the conversations, I feel like we don't actually have those conversations, and they've been floating around. But so I'm sorry, I did ask you, but let's not get too far into that. Yeah.
But the idea that it's starting to get a little more professional, a little more rigid, like what's expected of you and what isn't. Equaling we're esports now. Your feelings on that? I mean, you've been in this scene for a lot longer than it's been esports.
Yeah. I don't have a comment on that.
You don't care? Like you're along for the ride if it means that there's more prize pools and more tournaments and more for you to be able to sink your teeth into?
I would probably still be exactly where I am, even if there was no money involved. I've been playing for 20 years, and money just came recently, so it doesn't really affect me.
All right.
Getting into the game, I guess we could talk about Vega. Obviously, I play Vega, you play Vega. The character for a while wasn't doing too well in tournaments. We had Reiketsu come here to final round, and I think of all the Vegas, you placed the highest. In Japan, Nemo recently did well, but hadn't made much of a splash before that because he hadn't entered anything. How do you feel about Vega in the current state of the game, and how do you feel that you are compared to the other Vegas?
I think Vega is top tier. There's no doubt in my mind that he's like at least top 8, I guess. He's a very sensitive character. Like one mistake can go a really long way. Like you make a mistake of an anti or something and you'll lose the match completely and you don't really realize why you lost. And I guess people don't really realize that. Over time, I think he'll be top 5 at least. I think he's number 3. I always say 3 or 4.
What is it, if you can break down, that's good about Vega? Like, what is it that makes him? Is it his pokes? Is it his mix-up kind of
he
stuff?
has a lot of control. His damage is pretty low. His anti-airs are pretty hard. But on like neutral, his neutral is really strong. He has one of the best normals in the game with crouch strong. V-trigger into super is really strong. He has a 3-frame short, which is always nice. Like on paper, I don't think he's very good when I think about it. But in real life, when people make mistakes and like neutral is really important, people can't play perfect neutral forever. Mm-hmm. And that's where he wins most of his matches.
Flash, we have a call for you from Brett. Brett, you're on the air, and we can hear you. Go ahead with your question.
Hey, I just want to know what you guys thought we'd have to do to get rid of these liberal cuckolds in the White House and put Trump in there. Make America great again.
Well, thank you for that.
Thanks, Brett.
Call screening is an interesting thing, Efren, right? Because, someone can say they're going to talk about something and then talk about something else.
I'm not exactly sure how you get rid of the liberal cuckolds and make America great again, I think is the question. Do you have an opinion on that, Peter?
No opinion on that whatsoever.
Okay. Ian, who screens these calls, typed in there what the guy actually said his question was, and it was about tier lists. So just to spite this guy, what's your tier list?
Who are the top 2 above Vega, at least?
I would say Ken and Ryu.
Ken and Ryu. So that's a new thing.
Yeah.
Everyone was scared to say Ken was good for a long time.
Why is that, though?
I think Ken is only good because of the 8 frames, which is real.
Okay.
That's another hot topic. How do you feel about those 8 frames, Flash?
They're all right. They're whatever. Like they affect the game, but I don't think they break the game.
Yeah. Interesting.
And that's how I feel about it, too.
Flash?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
A lot of people attribute all their losses to it, but it can't be just 8 frames.
I don't know. People are making some pretty convincing arguments. We're going to get to see it in a no lag scenario here, because if I'm not mistaken, online does not have those 8 frames or something like that, or they have like less.
I don't know exactly
Some
how it
weird
handles
stuff.
this. I don't want to say it. Online's definitely hard to play sometimes, especially with Vega. That's another question I always like to ask people who are competitive players is, how did you get good? I mean, have you been playing mostly SF5 online? Have you been playing in your locals? What is it that made you get to the level you are right now with Vega?
I play locals, online, I lab a lot. I play a lot. Recently, I play 5, maybe 6 hours a day. So I've been putting in a lot of work. I don't really know what I do differently than most people, but I do have pretty good reactions. I noticed that a lot of people can't react dash forward, and I can. So I guess that's one of the biggest tools that I have that most people don't have. Playing Justin made me realize like that our reactions are on another level, because every single dash I did to him, he punished, and I'm not used to anybody doing that to me at all. But I do it to other people. So that was pretty interesting.
I have a question for you. You said ahead of the show that you'd be willing to play a set with my compadre right here, Michael Danke Schiller. And not only did you agree to it, you also told me that when you, quote, still cared about points, you played a set with him online and he basically double perfected you and he knocked you out of the top 10 on the Capcom leaderboards there in the game. Is that true? Can you verify that?
Yeah, he did knock me down.
Dang.
I'm pissed about it.
And then even worse.
You know,
what you got?
I
dude?
never want to say, because I'm not. Flash and Nemo are both definitely better than me with Vega. But I am the king of wall dives. And that's just a fact. No one is better at wall diving than
we're
me.
about to prove it. And then look at this tweet right here. I don't know if you can see this, Peter, but this is a tweet that you put out. I learned so much from watching Danke play yesterday. Definitely showed me the power of some tools that I wrote off. I love the pre-major power-up.
I'm going to blush, man.
I don't think we can get this guy in the door, man. I'm always having to deal with the ego, and you're just going to inflate it like that? What I need you to do for me, Flash, is body this guy so that we can maybe, deflate a little bit of what we got going on. You down to play this guy?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Are we going to see a Vega mirror?
If you want, I could probably beat him with anything these days.
Oh, my God. You know what's sad is that's probably true. I'm an Overwatch player now. But,
we can do a mirror. We can do...
What's it going to be?
Let's play at least some Vega. This is a matchup that no one gets to see.
We are doing 2 first to 3s, and then we're capping it. Are you okay with that, Peter?
That's fine.
All right.
So
are you near your...
Yeah, I'm on.
Your setup here. We sent you a request earlier, I think.
Oh, you did? Okay, give me a second.
Well, yeah, it's like there's no requests in this game. You put them on your favorites, and then you invite them.
Hey, time out while we wait. Can you show off that shirt for us? It's a very stylish shirt.
If you go not to the Target women's section, but the Target girls section, that's where I get most of my wardrobe. So that's the answer to that question.
Now, which one of those hashtags most resonates with you?
I mean, all of them, of course.
Hashtag selfie? I don't think I've ever seen you take a selfie. Hashtag no filter? Clearly, no filter.
I don't think you know me at all.
I certainly don't know you as hashtag flawless.
Maybe my Vega is. Not versus. Now, oh boy, we got to get on the internet first.
I think you should be online already. Guys, if we could please get 1s in the chat if you think Flash is going to win, and give me 2s in the chat if you think Don Danke is
Now,
gonna
here's
win.
the thing about this is that Flash has been saying forever, and he's probably right, that you got to play super lame with Vega.
Yeah?
And that's never been how I played. So, you know, maybe the mixture of styles will change as a result.
We'll have to
I
wait
think
and
I'm
see.
probably going to get
We'll have to
bodied,
wait
though,
and
to
see.
be honest.
Peter,
I didn't-
yeah, as
I
long as
didn't
you're...
get-
Go ahead.
I didn't get an invite.
Oh, no, I'm going to invite you, and I got to create the lounge.
Oh.
Yeah, this is Danke's first lounge, I think, that he makes.
I really don't play online much.
Here we go with the Johns.
No, well, of course. I mean, I'll Johns about anything. But
Hashtag Johns, y'all.
I should. And that's because the fact of the matter is, whether or not there's lag, you learn a lot from playing the game. And if you have the proper mindset to go into online and take the good with the bad, I think we've seen it work out time and time again. Of course, Flash is a good example of that. Knuckle-Dew is a good example of that.
Sure, plenty of guys.
I know a lot of these guys play online a ton, and there is a lot to be learned, even if your connection isn't perfect.
Guys, if you have any more... The call lines are still open. If you want to say anything, talk shit to Mike as he tries to beat Flash, we're game. We don't have any responses for your questions about the liberal cucks in the White House, so please refrain from that type of question if you would. In the meantime, I think we're almost ready to get this match going.
And I invited you, Flash.
Cool. But yeah, I feel like online play is actually really beneficial. Online play is like pool play. And if you can't play online, I feel like if you can get to Ultra Platinum online, you can make it to the losers finals of any pool, at least.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, I think, actually. And a lot of people forget about winning their pools, right? I mean, all you focus on is beating... And if you get good enough, yes, eventually you'll beat bad players.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people have this lofty goal of learning all the frame data and every punish and sort of that, but they've never played versus someone enough, period, to actually beat players that aren't good. And you need muscle memory in fighting games. The fact of the matter is, if you know something's punishable, that doesn't mean you're going to punish it the first time you do it.
Oh, I think we lost your camera there, Flash.
Oh.
I mean,
Sorry.
for me, it takes me a bunch of matches to learn how to punish stuff.
If you need to lose your camera so that you can have better connection, let us know. We can set that up.
I think it's fine.
All right, cool.
If anything, it'll help Danke out.
I figured you might be going to there with that.
I think I've got
I
my...
have 1300.
What?
That's like, is that my original 300 that you stole from me?
Probably. This is actually Efren's account. I think mine has 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have many. Basically, leave that here. I leave it here in the studio.
I'm not gonna do anything. I can't do anything in this match. Alright.
Oh.
That's right. You're the one who taught me that, and you're using it again.
That's a pretty cool Vega color, by the way. The all black.
Oh yeah. It's like Sephiroth.
Hey, there you go.
It's not Ross fight, dude.
Doesn't have that big old sword though. Petticoat asks, I want to know how Flash felt playing against Justin's Karin.
He's amazing. He's the best. I think he's gonna win Evo. His reactions are too good. Like earlier, I was saying that I wasn't used to anybody punishing every single one of my dashes, like the A-frames didn't exist. So it was pretty interesting to experience that.
Are you guys experiencing lag?
Oh my god.
No,
It's not really laggy.
but it's not that bad.
Okay, there you go.
It's nothing worth talking about. That was just a warm up. You know, first round is data, like Alex Valle said.
I mean,
And-
yeah, it's data for me.
Yeah, and now it's coming. This game is over. It's over.
You're not feeling it? You're not feeling Danke's Vega Tech?
No, not anymore.
Give me a second.
I heard you double P'd him, man.
He did. I
That was a
chipped
long
one of the
time ago.
rounds and I was so pissed. I even tweeted about it.
Zeno SF says Asia will win Evo. The entire country, apparently. Or continent.
Nah, Justin's winning Evo.
All right, all right. Ooh! Where'd you think I was going with that one, Peter?
I thought you were gonna dash in. You know,
I know you did.
Final round tech. Alright, I'm gonna play you for real now.
Ruth Van
nice
Moon
punch.
says Justin's gonna get bodied. Just wondering who's gonna beat Infiltration.
Okay, okay.
I think he lost. Not in this corner.
Oh my god. You see, I know the tech to beat that, but I'm not doing it. And it's going to come in the next round.
Oh, what? Oh my god, if I lose this, I'm gonna be pissed. No!
Look at the stun.
Hashtag no filter. Hashtag flawless.
Oh my god. Alright, alright.
Vega can't go in, boys. He can't do it.
Oh my god, you robbed me. See, that was online, right?
Did you rob
there.
it? Did you steal it from him?
I think in person I would have hit you out of that wall dive.
Play again, guys. What's it gonna be?
Alright. Okay.
Naventic Danke sounds pretty good, dude.
Hashtag flawless Danke. Can we get that trending somehow? Hashtag flawless Danke.
Ah.
Oh my god.
I can't kick Lenny do that. Oh, no, they're done. That was Will, our technical director, talking about a current issue with the stream. Nice match.
You gotta do it sometimes. 8 frames.
Of course. I mash all the time. Alright, alright. That combo looks so cool. I was like a little excited that you did it.
Which one?
Oh, just the V trigger rose at the end of the juggle.
Hey Flash, Mike and Ike 243 wants to know if you'll give him a shout out. Mike and Ike 243.
Okay. Shout out to Mike and Mike 243. He's actually really good.
He says he's got the best Laura.
Yeah, he does.
Hey, there you go.
That's one I play.
Have you played Cephalol?
No, I have not.
He's pretty dang good.
People were talking about it.
I mean, I got pretty bodied by him at Combo Breaker. I know you agree with me that that's a very hard matchup, right?
Yeah, it's Vega's worst matchup
I can see that.
by far.
We have a call, guys. This is from Jim. Jim,
Oh, my
you're
God.
on the air. We can hear you, bud. What's your call? What's your question?
Hey, Flash, I was just wondering what your opinion is on sucker rating the pussy.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think we're
All
done
right.
with calls for the day.
That's it. We're done with calls. Ian at home, thank you, very much.
You attract these boys, right, Flash? I mean, geez, we've had some pretty serious calls in the past.
Yeah. I want to thank Ian Barker, who is screening the calls. I don't hold this against you. There are some sly dudes in the FGC who are trying to get in there.
Oh, jeez.
But sorry, guys, we're ending calls for the night.
That's hilarious, though.
Oh my God.
Danke, I'm on to you now.
You are not on to me. I just gotta focus now.
I'm on to you, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna react to that next time with what I want to. I promise.
Are you?
Yes.
No. Oh, wow. Another one?
Sorry. Okay. Here we go. I gotta focus now. I'm too
I'm
focused on Ian's call screening and not focused enough on the match.
You started thinking you were going to get that Naventic sponsorship and you let your game slip, man. And what's frustrating to me here is that somebody lied to my boy Ian. It says here that the question was going to be which is more important, execution or reads.
If the okay, here's a statement for any call screeners of the future. If a question is that general sounding, they're trying to say something stupid. I know that. No one would ever ask that question.
We still have people calling in. We have 3 calls in the queue, but we're not going to get to them. Sorry, guys. We're officially canning the call-in portion of the show.
Okay. So you know what Flash did there right now that's really good is the jump in, walk, down jab. Because if you jump in and delay a normal or do a slow normal, people won't react. But if you start walking, that's when they hold up or mash. So I mean that's a small tip for because a lot of these smaller things don't get said enough to newer players about mixing people up because it feels really hard to mix up initially. But the small tricks like that are what really get you.
Yeah. Well, people are spamming the up tech, the jump forward option select.
Yes.
People spam that too much. So if you don't do low short, you'll never stop them.
All right.
I told you it's over, man.
It's not over. It's not over at all.
I got
I'm actually
you.
sure it's not over. Clearly my reactions versus Vega are pretty poor because I need to react to that the right way.
Mine are pretty poor too, to be perfectly honest. Only in this matchup. I feel like in every other matchup, I react.
I feel like that should never work like that.
What's the score right now? Is that already it? Is that
It's 2-1. It's 2-1. Okay, so the thing is, if Vega does EX wall dive, you can actually do V skill to make it hit once and then punish it.
Well, I had no idea.
Well,
Are you going to put
I'll
out
give
another
a
tweet? I learned so much from being on Best of 3 and Danke's talking to me.
And neither of us are doing the right thing versus Stand Fierce whatever.
Yeah, it's because it's too much pressure. This is more than tournament.
Yeah.
This is for the best Vega in America. Oh.
All right, okay. I got you now.
Do you?
Yeah. 100%. What? Oh my god. I got it. See, I'm just reacting slow.
I wanted to see it.
I wanted to see it too.
Oh my god.
Where are we at here, Flash? What's going on? Is that it?
That's
the first
3-1,
set.
but I'm getting a consolation game right now. Okay, because now, here's what the problem was. Right, boys? Okay.
Okay.
I was trying to do the right stuff, but I haven't practiced it enough. Now, I'm going to go all instinct.
So
for
this
one
doesn't
match.
count? Okay,
This
fine.
doesn't count.
Fine.
This is for... This is just Danke going wild, this next one.
So you believe that you just overpower me with randomness?
Not with randomness, but with, like, QB Danke, dude. Like,
QE? Oh, is that a Naruto joke?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I apologize.
Or, you know what's even better? I'm just going to pick Guile.
Are you
My
serious?
Guile.
So then this is officially the next
This
set.
is who I've been playing the whole last month, and that's not
Are you
a
serious?
joke. Yes.
When you're not playing
That's
Overwatch
not
or Hearthstone.
necessarily that I'm good enough with him yet, but this is who I want to main.
What do you think? How's this going to
Because
go?
I do think that people like Flash are better at playing Vega than me.
Flash, how did after having played Knuckle-Doo, are you at all concerned about playing Danke's Guile?
No. This is gonna be a massacre. I'm just gonna jump fireballs.
Uh-oh, flash kicks.
I'm just gonna keep jumping at you. You're not ready? Oh. That goes over lows?
Not looking good, Mike. Ooh, that was an interesting little cross-up. Flash could beat it. Is that safe, I guess?
It's -2, yeah. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, we're gonna play tournament right now. These two
Tournament.
rounds.
If I win this one, I won the whole set.
I'm not losing this. Here we go.
So this is winner takes all right here?
Yep. Oh.
Sanford's Nina tweets says,
Okay.
I can't tell who's the sponsored player in this set.
Jesus Christ, what is going on?
What?
Oh, that was gonna be the game right there. That was gonna be the combo. Okay.
Ow. Oh, you're gonna punish me?
I was gonna punish that.
Nah. You're not ready for that. This is like a 2-week guile. You can't do that yet.
Oof.
Oh my god. Oh, what the?
Do both these characters have air throws?
Yes. Vegas kind of sucks.
How's his Guile? How's Guile?
I mean, they all have the same range, but Vega gets no real Oki.
Okay. Rip Bro wants to know, just to confirm, you will be going to Evo, right, Flash?
Yeah, I will be pretty much everywhere from now on.
Sass.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is not happening.
Oh! This day one Guile! I'm a born Guile player. I played Guile since okay, never mind. I'm not gonna pop off.
Oh my god. That was random.
So is that it? Are we done? Are we just going to end the show right there? Or are we doing another set? Or is that the new set?
My Guile will beat your Guile.
All right.
Is that what we're saying? Okay.
Winner takes all, Guile v. Guile.
Guile v. Guile for
Alright,
the winner.
alright, yeah.
Because, you know what? I've conceded. Flash is the better Vega, right?
All right.
But
all
who
right.
cares? Because I'm a Guile player.
You know, my excuse for that set was it wasn't your Vega, so I couldn't take it seriously. But I can give you my 100% if it's my Guile. But I can't do that with my Vega.
You were holding back out of
Yeah,
out of respect for
You know,
the host of the
it's
show?
honestly serious. One thing in this game about being a Vega player, and he'll agree, even though he bodied me, is that you never get to play versus another Vega. That is a matchup that doesn't exist. Like, no one has played it. The last time I played versus Vega in a serious set was versus Flash at Final Round in March.
Yeah, same here.
Like, it's just a matchup where, like, everything is so unprecedented in terms of how you play it. And sometimes I feel that way when people play against me as well, because he's so uncommon. Even I see Fang more at this point, and it makes no sense.
Well, let's see this Guile v. Guile action.
Yeah, I don't know why nobody plays Vega. He's so good.
He's hard to play.
Look at that. Color coordinated and everything.
Yeah, but I got the good costume.
I don't know. Those shades are pretty badass.
I have the army pants.
Oh, there you go.
I hope you're ready. Here we go.
You're so frustrated right now. I can tell. You're like, how am I going to get around this wall? Because I barely throw Sonic Booms. That's the secret to Guile.
That's weird.
You can't throw them because you get jumped.
I saw you throw a ton of Sonic Booms. Even the
Have you
souped
ever
up
watched
Sonic
SF4?
Booms. So we got you in the tie and gray pants, and we have Flash in the army pants and the muscle shirt.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god.
People are upset that they haven't seen a single Sonic Boom loop combo. Do you have those, Don?
I have them. It's hard to get an opportunity to actually do it.
Yeesh. Damn, wake up the X. Oh, right back at you, pal.
You can punish that.
Punish what?
My close spears.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Are we doing it?
No. No!
Come on, chat. Let's get this going. Let's get some Bible thumbs going. Oh my god, it's gonna actually happen.
Oh my god.
Who is the best Guile in the room? Are you?
I'm not in that room, actually.
Where is it? Oh, I'm so mad. People are never gonna doubt me about this character.
Damn. I gotta catch my breath on that one, man. Damn. Oh, that was pretty good, Mike. Bring it home, pal.
Oh my god.
We're getting some Naventic Dankas in here, Flash. What are you gonna do about this?
I guess I gotta give it to him, right? Is that how it works?
Oh, they're blaming it on 8 frames. That's why.
Oh my god.
Nah. Come on, Mike.
Oh my god.
All right, is that it? Is that the show over?
Alright, yeah.
Is the show over?
I can't beat you.
Hashtag no filter, y'all. Flash, we really want to thank you for coming on the show. And
Seriously, I mean, honestly, 100% truthful. I'm not saying this just to inflate his ego, because God knows it doesn't need to happen. But Flash's Vega is part of why I started playing Guile. Because I truly do feel that the style of Vega that is the most successful is a super lame, super defensive.
Wait, that's why you started playing Guile?
No, because I am not as good.
Flash, you retired as Vega, dude.
I am not as good at that style of play, and I do feel like what I do is not the future of the character.
Okay.
And I won't stop playing Vega. He's still definitely currently my best character. But I think Guile fits my style better, and I think I might have to leave the claw at some point to the guy who's willing to sit there and down strong.
Flash, you got anything you want to say before we let you go, man? About the set or about being signed or anything like that?
Danke sucks at this game. And
what does that say about you, champ?
That I'm even worse. I need to practice. I'm about to go into the cave and not come out until CEO.
Peter, again, shout-outs, dude. Shout-outs for coming on the show. If you have any shout-outs to Naventic or to Rotenda or any of your boys, by all means.
Yeah, shout-out to everybody, the staff at Naventic, GG Supplements, Twitch, just everybody. Thank you. Thanks for having me, and I hope you guys have a good one.
All right, Peter. Thanks for being on the show. Danke, thanks for finally bringing some honor to this damn set, man. I think...
I mean, I got bodied in the real set, but then in the American set, I came through. If someone tells me they're going to beat me in a specific matchup, I get mad, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. That doesn't even make any sense, but I was like...
Hashtag I get mad.
Hashtag flawless, dude. I was pulling out combos I don't even normally do, man. Like the red, white, and blue was flashing through my head, and I just could not stop myself.
Mike, thank you for bringing honor to the Best of 3 set. You've been watching Best of 3, a weekly FGC talk show presented by Esports. I'm your host, Efren. Other host right there, the man with the buttons, hashtag flawless, Mike Schiller. We'll catch you next week, guys. Thanks for watching.